Thank you for picking up the sticks. This is episode 109, Stakes Gaming Podcast. I am Mike Kernat. To my right, Mike Steak-Carnia.
What's going on?
To my left, Art, making his triumphant return, Rosian.
The worst part about these episode numbers now is I can't yell out a sports player whose jersey number that was.
109? Well, no, it's like when they have
like a marathon runner. I'm going to start looking up Kenyan marathon runners.
Well, I like it. It's like when they have minor league, not like when they the spring baseball, when they have three people the same number, they put 44A.
Preseason football when you have the 100-man roster. Yeah. Number 12 out there. Number 12 is playing quarterback in the first quarter.
He's 412s. What do you
mean he's playing safety now? Why is your starting quarterback playing safety? Why is Tom Brady playing safety?
So, thank you for joining us. We have a few new games came out recently. We're going to be talking about those. If you're wondering why we're not talking about the PlayStation State of Play, because that's happening tomorrow in real time. And it's only a PlayStation 4 and PSVR announcements, no PS5 announcements. So we figured...
Some of the games, but the one I was hoping to give you more context on. They already said no. That was Kenna.
Oh, yeah.
They said that they're not going to be there. So I was like, okay, I don't care then.
It's going to be...
that was like that mystical one.
Yeah.
That girl. It was like a dark world.
I'm thinking of something different.
Okay.
There's a... Never mind. I'll get into it later.
All right.
It's not related to video games.
What is he talking about?
I was thinking of Kenner or toys. No.
So, yeah, I think it's going to be just I think we're going to get the Star Wars Vader, what is it, the Immortal?
Oh,
the VR.
I totally forgot that was
going to We're gonna date for that.
Shadow Drop.
Probably.
I would not be surprised. Yeah,
the game's already out, right? I mean,
it's on Oculus. Yeah, it's already on Oculus. It's been on Oculus.
Makes sense.
So, yep.
So it's probably gonna be something like that.
I could see that.
I know it starts at 1 Pacific.
Yep.
So I don't know. Did they say how long it's gonna be? Like half an hour?
40
minutes?
I don't know.
I really have not paid much attention to it at all.
I did see a link somewhere. I forget how long. I want to say 20 minutes, which that's still pretty good. Yeah. I mean, they'll probably show off Star Wars Squadrons a little bit more because that's PlayStation VR as well.
Right. Yeah, so I think anything earth-shattering happens, find us on Twitter. But we decided that today works better for us, so we're doing it today. But Steak finished Last of Us.
I did. I finished Last of Us 2.
Fall Guys came out. So we got plenty of other things to talk, and a bunch of weird Sony news over the last couple of weeks too,
and Xbox news too.
Some, and Xbox news too.
It seems like every day we just keep getting a little bit of tiny little things here and there trickling. Yeah, this is kind of annoying.
I was gonna say, you said that because I remember before E3 was canceled, everyone's gonna do their own thing, and I was gonna mention this last episode, but I wasn't here. But it's I take back everything I said. Giving everyone their moment. Put it all back together. Give me 2 goddamn days to focus on. I don't have the attention span to be focusing on an event here and 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 here. Oh, and this one's going to be not announced but show that day. I can't keep track of all of it. Just just go back to E3. Give me everything in 2 days.
It's too much. Yeah, exactly. I'd rather have had my hour-and-a-half Ubisoft conference where I really only cared about a half hour of it, but still an hour and a half where I got everything, not this like we talked about last time.
I suppose just weird random Nintendo announcements today, like the Pikmin 3 coming out.
Oh, all right,
cool.
Cool.
Sure.
Hey, guess what? 2 months ago.
Yeah, right.
Just like Paper Mario, 2 months from now.
It's just wild. But I mean, there's also there's something I do like about that too, because we always talk about the hype train and things like that, when it's just oh man, this the Sony first part or the third party is gonna have the new Batman game and all this new stuff and all. And it's then it doesn't happen. So it almost feels like you made your own expectations aren't even realistic anyway. So why am I upset that it didn't happen? Because it's not a real thing. Why am I upset about that?
Right.
But whatever. Let's get into it. Steak, which plan?
All right. So like we said, finished Last of Us 2. Finally finished it. It took me about 24-ish, 25 hours. Mm-hmm. So it was on the long side for me. But no.
Did you say on the long side for
I'm
you?
gonna say,
yeah.
Mr. 70-hour
I know.
JRPG?
For that game, that was a little on the long side. For that game.
Knowing your feelings on the gameplay, I get it.
Yeah.
That's a long time to grit your teeth and push through something that you're not.
Yeah. So I think there's a compliment to the storytelling, then, I assume.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, I thoroughly did enjoy the story for the most part. The same, to keep it vague as possible still, the same part Mike was talking about a couple of times 2 weeks ago, I think,
Yeah.
about how there was a part you didn't kind of care for the way it was being played out. I 100% agreed with that. I actually almost gave up on the game right there because of that. So I'm glad I didn't though. But no, for the most part, like I said, I enjoyed it. There was some stuff throughout it where I was just like, okay, this is weird. I don't know if I like this or not. Actually, what's his name? Emron from used to work at Game Informer.
Oh yeah, Imran Khan.
Yes. There's a lot of things I do not agree with in terms of him, like just him in general, as a person with a lot of his like video game thoughts and stuff like that, tastes and stuff like that. But he wrote an article on, I think, Medium.com or The Medium. I don't know what it is or whatever.
I think just Medium.com.
Just Medium, right? Yeah. Explaining how like we shouldn't blindly defend
It's live journal.
Last of Us 2. And he gets into depth about a lot of different things that he did not agree with. And 90% of that article, I agreed with him. Like, it's actually a really well done article where it's like, because like I did enjoy the game. Like, I'm not saying it was like, oh my God, I'm not one of these guys. I'm not like, oh my God, this is so terrible, blah, blah, blah. But like, especially after reading him, I was like, yeah, that is how I thought during this. Like, I was wondering, like, because I knew, like, I couldn't express myself how I was feeling. But then now hearing you say it, I'm like, okay, good. It was like one of those moments, like, oh, I'm not the only one who thought this. Like,
yeah, it's like
one of
those things where like, I just need to like. It's like I felt that like when we talked about it last time too, when I watched it, the 12 hours of the deepest dive, and I was just like, I just needed like one more little oomph to like, okay, that is what I thought about this. You know what I mean? Like I had like a scratch in the back of my brain that I couldn't quite get out, and I think I think it sounds like kind of what happened with you with this article.
Pretty much, yeah, and that was nice because I needed that because I was struggling on some stuff, like because I was like, all right, maybe I'm thinking the wrong way on this, and then when he said it, I was like, oh, hey, I'm not. Good. So that was great. So I'm glad I got that done. But it was definitely worth going through. So after that, I jumped into. I said I was not going to jump into it, and I stuck to it. I'm proud of myself until I finished Last of Us 2, and that was Ghost of Tsushima. So I'm not far at all, honestly. Like okay. I just finally, like earlier today, really started exploring the world a bit. I finally got to that point where I can kind of go on my own, on my horse, and start going. And that is like the opening part was like, all right, this is cool, this is neat, but I'm like, whatever. Like, all right, come on, let's go, let's get into it. And then now I'm into that, I'm like, all right, like I'm ready to dive into this game.
I started playing it too. I finally found a physical copy. Even I couldn't find one the weekend before, so I finally found one. So I got a chance. So I'll talk about something else I played first, but. I'm probably just a little bit further than you because I just kind of opened up the open world too because like it is very linear to start off with, and then you get to that point where like we need to. You're basically this is like the crux of the story, so it's not really a spoiler. No. So like your uncle gets taken captive by the Mongols who are taking over Tsushima. So you're basically trying to find out a way to gather different troops to attack the Mongols. And so that's how the open world opens up. Like you're searching around, trying to find different people to help you. But yeah, man, that's so far. I am loving this game.
It's cool.
I played about 10 hours of Sekiro, and I hated it because it just turned my body inside out, and I just couldn't. And that was actually like realizing I like Bloodborne. So like I still understand what those games are, and that was just like that was just a bridge too far for me.
Yeah.
It feels like a lot of that combat without it just being just ridiculously like just killing you all the time.
Yeah.
The parrying, the striking, the multiple different stances, and the tools you have and things like that.
The parrying feels real like you could do it.
The window is much wider.
It's a little bit wider window. Actually when I was doing the training part, when you were supposed to be blocking, I was actually parrying because of the way it worked. So I was like, it felt natural. Like it was like I was like, oh, that's kind of nice.
And there's some really fun mechanics in it too. When you're being the samurai and part of their culture is like you're supposed to face your person when you're fighting them. So when you go up to these camps, you can have an option. You press the D-pad up, and you're like
standoff.
Yeah, for a standoff, and you hold down.
So awesome.
You hold on. They always have a little scene where you see them kind of coming towards each other. Then you hold triangle, and once the guy comes towards you, let triangle go, and you let the katana out of your sheath and just
slice
destroy somebody.
It's awesome.
And then you can update that too.
Yeah.
Where you got another person coming in, so it's like, boom, and next person. and it's like, you look amazing. And like, there's some times in there too where I had like, I killed those 2 people, pulled out a bow and arrow because I could slow time now for a small distance of time on the bow and arrow.
Yep.
So like, slice, slow down, bow, headshot, everyone's dead. And I was just like, I'm fucking awesome.
Yeah.
And it gives you a lot of that. So like,
it's a good feeling. It's actually the one thing I was worried about was the combat in this game, and I am not worried at all anymore. Like, I know it's going to get harder, but I'm not that worried.
Yeah, there's a lot of skill. There's a lot to it. It reminds me of, I mean, other Sony properties. It's like as diverse as Spider-Man was.
Yeah.
There's a lot of buttons there, and there's a lot of things you can do, and a lot of things, and then like each enemy needs to be attacked a little differently, just like in Spider-Man. You have the heavies and lights and ranged people and things like that. But it really feels like. But the open world itself reminds me a lot of Horizon, like a lot of Horizon. Just like kind of finding things, and there's a lot to collect. You're upgrading stuff. You're upgrading. Many different things.
Finding those hot springs.
Find those hot springs. Getting that.
Max, get more health, and then the haikus to get your band. Oh, that was so awesome. It was so relaxing, actually, to do the haiku.
Yeah, it's like, I mean, I didn't like. When we talked about this a couple weeks ago, I was like, I didn't know what I felt about the game. Like, kind of going into it, I kind of felt hinky about it. So I really didn't look too much into it.
Yeah.
So I'm kind of exploring a lot of this game as I'm exploring the game. Like, I didn't know like the haikus existed and things like that.
I honestly didn't even know about that either.
So like, and like, there's a purpose to them, and like, you gain things, and get those fox dens. You're gonna get like those extra attachment slots. So it's just like Horizon, or you're attaching things to your weapons.
Yeah, I haven't discovered any of that yet, but yeah.
There's plenty of them.
Oh, sure.
They're everywhere. There's yellow birds flying you to things, and there's foxes everywhere.
Right,
and so far, what I've seen. But man, I'm really digging it.
It's cool.
I'm really, really liking it.
Yeah.
It is absolutely gorgeous too.
The map is huge.
Yeah.
This game's gonna take a while.
I think so too. Yeah, I think
people
so
said like platinum wise, and from what I've seen too, what people say, it's actually supposed to be like a pretty like Spider-Man level platinum, where it's actually pretty doable,
but it takes some time.
It takes some time, but it's doable. But everyone says that it took them like about 50 hours, like platinum. So I mean, that's platinum. So my guess would be it'd still be probably about 30 hours to finish. Would be my guess for like doing like stuff.
Yeah.
Not just rushing through the story, but doing some of the other stuff too.
It also feels a little Far Cry-y because you have like different sections of the island,
right?
And you're like, how liberated is this part of your island? How liberated is that part of the island? Like, it feels, it has that same like.
And is it like the less liberated it is, the more like enemy encounters you have?
It seems like it.
Yeah.
I've only liberated 4 out of 21 or whatever it is for the first one, because again, I haven't gotten too far into it.
Yeah.
I'm also finding myself just wandering around, and there's question marks everywhere. Like, I'm constantly unlocking and finding things and things like that. So I'm really doing a lot of exploring, and I'm just kind of now getting into like finding some different missions to do. But I'm loving it.
Yeah. Yeah, like I said, I am very excited to really, because today was the first time, like I said, I got into the more openness, and I'm like, okay, I get it, I see this now. I really am excited to dive into those. Other than that, I'll talk really briefly. I forgot to write it out here. So I finally started, so I can join the debate of what is the best Final Fantasy ever. I finally started 6 for the first time ever.
Oh, okay.
And everyone loves 6.
That's the old school one everyone points at.
Yes.
Like this is the one that's the best one.
Yes. So I finally started that. So I'm only like 3-ish hours in or so. I have it on my mobile so for that. So, and oh my God, I got to see if I can add a controller to it or not. Touchscreens. Because there was a part where you actually have to follow like a certain path, and it took me 20 minutes. I almost gave up because it took me 20 minutes, because even with doing the touchscreen, I'm trying to like barely tap, and like it still was just like not responding correctly. It was like driving me insane. Fucking touchscreen controls. So far so good though. I'm enjoying it. The music, I have to say, even just in these first little bits, the music is phenomenal. Then last but not least, this game I've been seeing on social media everywhere, so much advertising for it. And I was like, no, I'm not going to do it. I always fall into these traps. I don't get these games. And then the reviews started coming out, and they're like, oh, the reviews are actually been pretty decent. So I'm like, all right, fine. Then I saw Best Buy had 1 left in stock for the Switch. So I was like, all right, I'm going to do it. So I grabbed, it's called Fairy Tail for the Nintendo Switch. It's based off a very popular anime.
Okay.
It's ended. The anime ended. So this kind of, from what I'm gathering, is this kind of starts near the end of that and then creates a whole new story. Okay. So it was just kind of neat. And I've always heard great things about this anime, so I've always actually did want to watch it. I think there's like 358 episodes.
Oh.
But it's done. So it's one of those
that's
things where,
good.
hey, at least you know it's done. But I am like almost 7 hours into this game. I am super enjoying it. It looks great. It looks like an anime. Like I'm actually very impressed.
RPG?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, it is an RPG. It's
I think you're talking to me.
I don't want to assume.
Of course. But like the combat is turn based. It's also like a 3x3 grid system, but not in like not too much of a tactical way. So everyone's attacks are very magic based,
okay.
And all them in the magic, whatever spell you're picking to use takes up like a certain amount of the grid. So it could be a single space, could be two spaces side by side, two vertical. Different kind of thing. There's different variations for all these different magic. So that's where like the kind of a little bit of the strategy comes in, but it's not like overly complicated. It's enough to where it's like, oh, okay, I can do this and this. Like
kind of like South Park.
Yes. Oh, totally. Yeah, exactly. No, yeah. South Park, where it's like, okay, if you could think about it, but it's like you didn't have to like sit there and be like, okay, it's not a tactical where it's like, all right, I got to plan out my next 5 moves or whatever. Yeah. You could focus on that
like
one. And
some attacks do
one.
Like, a straight line of cubes. Some of them do horizontal.
Yep. Which is why I think South Park I enjoyed too, because it was like normally stuff like that I'm not too fond of. But that was like not. It was a simple version of that. Same with this. This is even more simple than South Park. 'Cause it's only 3x3 squares in front of you. But it looks great. Story's fun. I'm having a blast with it. It's good. I mean, it's not like a game of the year or anything like, but it is. It is like, I'm glad that it's like I'm having fun with it, because I fall in games like this before where it's like I get it. Either it's terrible or I play it for like a couple hours and then I never touch it again. With this, I bought on when it came out last Friday, and every day I've at least put something into it. So
that's a good sign.
Yeah, so I'm enjoying it.
Cool.
Yep.
That's all I got.
Yes.
Art.
Yo.
Which plan?
Well, according to you guys, all I do is play Siege. So go fuck yourselves.
Every time I'm on, that is what you're playing.
I played more Siege. I started playing Far Cry New Dawn on PlayStation.
Okay.
Basically, it came down to like just with everything going on between what's going on with my grandmother and everything else. She's not dead, by the way. She's just hurt. It was like I had Last of Us sitting there. And it's like I don't want to start playing something. I'm gonna get like that takes like an investment of like you get wrapped up in that story. You're invested in the story. Like, so I just went for like the comfort food of Far Cry, and like I'd been waiting for it to go down in price and PlayStation had their summer sale. I'm like, sweet, there it is. So I grabbed that, and you can run around and shoot people.
You Far Cry,
you can run around and you can Far Cry in there. Run over enemies in cars and stuff. So I played that. I think I got through like what is that? That's like a 3-act game, right?
I don't remember.
I got through the first chunk of it. I don't know.
Okay.
Not really paying attention.
Since you were here last time, what did you think of the Far Cry 6 reveal?
I didn't see. Did they do like a gameplay reveal at all?
There were some screenshots that they released later.
I saw the trailer they did.
Okay.
I mean, it seems interesting.
Yeah.
But like, I don't know. I want to see more about it because like the environment. So like, they try to do like a different environment for every game. So like 3 was like a tropical island. 4 was like a fictional version of India. 5 was in the central U.S. New Dawn was in the post-apocalyptic central U.S. And so I don't think they've done one where it's like there's a dictator in charge and like there's like civil resistance, I guess, or turmoil or whatever. So I don't know. It could be it's a Far Cry game, so I have my attention pointed towards it. But I'm not like I didn't see the trailer and be like, oh, I gotta get that.
Well, sure, right.
You see what's new about it too, because it is just like a cinematic trailer at this point,
right? Yeah, and like I mean, they had the video of the who I guess will probably be the main bad guy there talking, and I mean he didn't seem overly charismatic like previous ones have. So we'll see where that goes. There's also a thought flying around that the little boy turns out to be Voss from Far Cry 3, which whatever. I never even played all the way through that one. I got part of the way through it, and I think I had a mission where I had to follow someone, and no matter what I tried, he kept detecting me, so I just stopped. Outside of that, I played some Fall Guys.
Yes. Yes.
I think my second or third show, I won.
Nice.
So I beat the game, so I'm done.
Well, we're gonna get into a little more Fall Guys here in a minute. But what was your final stage?
It was a race. And the map was, there was obstacles all in it, but it was kind of like a pyramid shape. And at the end, there's a crown that you have to jump and grab.
I've been playing that too. This one I won finally today. I put a lot of time into it today. This one I won on too.
Okay. Before that, I was playing during the beta, which I think probably gave me an unfair advantage in my third game on launch day, because I already had paths charted out.
Yeah, right.
Sure.
Okay. That makes a huge difference.
That I knew when I don't think there was much of a beta on console. So
Right.
That definitely helped. The other thing was when I got, it definitely helps when I got to the end where the crown is kind of raising and lowering. I was the third person to get there. The first two just jumped and didn't realize you have to touch it.
Oh yeah, I had to grab it. Yeah.
So it was going up, and they both just jumped underneath it, and I just kind of stood there at the top for a second and then jumped and grabbed it. But yeah, I mean, it's a fun game. It's usually one of those things I can't. Even during the beta or even now, I don't see myself sitting there playing for hours on end. You jump in, you do 3 or 4 shows, and then move on with your day. Mm-hmm. It might be different if I'm doing it and have a party chat going on with 3 or 4 other people playing at the same time. That
I can't imagine how much fun that would be. Oh my god, it's gonna be. That game is just so much anarchy.
So just kind of some the gist of the game is I think you described it last time talking about it. It's like the TV show Wipeout.
Yep.
60 people, and it's so there's. Was your last level 5?
It changes.
I know it changes based on how many people you have left, but I think typically you'll do 5 levels max.
I had one where it only had 3 levels, and because we had one of the games if you fall off the side, you're out. Not you don't start from the beginning. Right. And so we started that level with 42 people, and we only had 3 left at the end of it. So and it was so I got doing 3 levels for this one.
My final level only had 5.
Yeah.
On that one. But I still think it was the 5th level, but it's split up between individual race type games, individual survival games, and then there's team based games, which kind of suck,
dude. 90% of the time I get eliminated is on a team game.
Because it's you have no control over your team.
Right.
They could be completely inept, and next thing you know, you're just out. I think if you get a group together, you're in a party of 4, I think the 4 of you will be on the same team.
I think that's the gist of it too.
So I think that motivation to get some friends to play together with. Also, I'm sure communication helps in that, because if you're doing the thing where you put eggs in baskets. If everyone's, chasing eggs and no one's playing defense, all your eggs are gone by the time you get back.
No one plays. It's like Rocket League. No one plays defense.
All I do is play defense.
That's what I've been starting to do too, because someone's got to do it. So there's one game.
I always see some bastard trying to steal my gold eggs. And
there's one game where they have 3 identical tracks, and you're rolling this huge ball down the hill, and there's obstacles along the way. And what I do now is I just jet to the end of it and just try to stop the people, because you can't get there's 3 lanes you can't get into. Then the very end, it all converges to one big lane, and then I'm just there as a stopper. I'm just waiting for that. I'm just waiting for this giant ball to come, like Indiana Jones waiting to come down on me.
But yeah, I think the last time I did the egg one, I stayed in my basket and played defense the whole time. Well, I think it was I got an initial egg, put it in there, went to go get another one, and I came back and there was 4 different guys from other teams in my basket. I'm like, what? Where is everyone?
Nowhere.
I start jumping on people and grabbing them. I said there was one guy who just never left, so I just kept roughing up.
It's super simple controls. You have jump, you have dive, and you have grab.
Yeah.
That's all there is to it. And like I said, they have those wipeout type games, you have those team-based games. The survival ones are just they have a platform with an arm that swings around the side of it, and it keeps getting faster and faster and faster. You got to keep jumping over it.
Right.
So one of the final levels is that thing, but you know how it has pie slices?
Yeah.
The pie slices start falling.
So I played a lot. I don't think I've seen that. I haven't seen that one yet. I've seen the one with the little hexagons when they you step on it and it falls through. I was the last person dead on that one, and I was we were both falling. I could see him. I was falling here, he was falling here.
You hit the slime before you did.
Yeah, I tried to dive, and he I just tried to get a little more time, and I still just got to the barrier before he does. They have another final game where it's basically tag. What is that? It's not tag. It's like, I guess like it's, they have these raccoon tails, and they have like, if you have like a small amount of people left, they always do this game where it's like, I'll have a raccoon tail on me and no one else will. And if a guy tags me, he takes a raccoon tail, now he's it. And he's running around trying to get touched. And it's a 2-minute game, 2-minute time limit. If you had that tail on you at the end of that game, you win. That was when I was super close to winning. I was like, the guy fell right in front of me, and if I had 2 seconds left, not 1 second left, I would have won that game. So I missed that one too.
That's one I haven't seen as a final one. I've seen that as a team game where there's a bunch of tails and you're trying to hold the most.
It's literally just like the middle section of that with one tail that everyone's just trying to grab. I had another one with the same thing with the crown going up and down, where I had to wait for the crown to come down. By the time it came down, someone came up behind me. I must have been like, it was super photo finish. Like it was like, it had to have been. But I finally got my win today, and it was just like, it was like a perfect run. Like nothing touched me. Yeah. The crown came down the perfect time when I was ready to jump. Like it was meant to be. Like I was gonna win that race.
I said the one that I won, it was like every event like leading up to that one was a perfect run, and that one I just got like wrecked like 3 times but then like so did everyone else, and the 2 guys who beat me to the top apparently didn't know you actually had to grab the crown and jumped and fell. So I lucked out on that one.
Yeah, dude, I do love it though. I love the whole feel of it, just how goofy everything is. Like everything is like looks like it's like padded, like like Wipeout is. Like whoever made these things were concerned about the well-being of the little jelly bean guys. So like it's just everything about it just feels so great. I know people have been having server issues. I've had a couple drop here and there.
I think it was more
PC
right at launch.
And right at launch too. Yeah.
I pretty much just played today. But like you level up, you get cosmetic upgrades for your little jelly bean guy. You can change his color, change the pattern. You got costumes, you got all kinds of stuff you can change. But man, yeah, I am absolutely loving it. But I will tell you this, man, it's a couch slapper. Like I was mother. And just because I had a run earlier today where I finished first in the first 2 races. And I not only finished, I didn't qualify. I wasn't in the top 20%. I was first the first 2 games. Then I got into one of those team games, and everyone was just an idiot. I was just like, y'all are killing me right now. It was a game. When you have a game where you have 7 giant volleyballs, they're like in the middle of it. And they have 3 different teams, and each team has their own, section of the board, and you're basically trying to get as many volleyballs into your section. And it's just like, we had 5 in there, in mine, near the end. Oh, you guys just play some defense, guys. Yeah. They're running off. I got 5 guys running off onto one of them.
We need our 7.
I was just like, we got 20 seconds here, guys. And we end up not having it. And we went into overtime because we were tied for, someone was tied for last, and we ended up losing in overtime. I was like, oh my God. Just brutal. Fall Guys.
Yeah.
Love it.
That's on my list this weekend in between the Avengers beta to jump into.
Oh yeah, that's happening.
Yeah, I would say my frequent anger at Rainbow Six and the need for a game to play with people has me. I pre-ordered Avengers just to try the beta. I don't know if I'll actually get it. I'll try the beta out and see how.
Well, that's what I figured. It was nice because I wasn't sure which version I was going to get yet. So I before my GCU expired, I reserved the regular edition and then that super collector's edition, both for Xbox. But when you type in the code, it lets you choose what system.
Oh, cool.
So it's like awesome. So I used one code for PlayStation. I used my other code for Xbox. So I was like perfect. So I'll play it on PlayStation this week. Give it a try. And then if I like it, then next week I will try it on Xbox just to kind of see if it plays better or whatever, and then go from there.
But don't you want to play as Spider-Man?
Well, I'm assuming we're going to get into that later.
A little bit.
Okay. Are you playing anything else? All right. I only got one more thing to talk about. So I finished Kentucky Route Zero. You and I talked about that last time. Said I was like watching 6 Twilight Zones at the same time, and it was just nonsense and crazy. It doesn't stop being that way.
Okay.
All the way to the very end.
What about through the very end?
Well, like, okay, I don't know.
Or do they explain to you what's going on at
No,
the end?
God, no. The last thing I'm not going to say what the last thing you do is. Or remind me to tell you what the last thing you do is. You guys are, okay. I cannot recommend this game less for you guys. So I will tell you, like.
Perfect.
I'll give you some spoiler-filled ranting at the end of it. It definitely, it's. Like I said last time, I love the playfulness of it. I love that nothing's normal. I love it even when you get a chance to like replay the game again. It's like there's actually a trophy to replay the 4th episode for a second time for some reason. I don't know if it's just that different or what. But like, I don't know if I just missed a lot of stuff. But I mean, I feel like I missed a ton of the trophies of things like, because trophies are like, activate this thing that could happen in this level, and I missed a bunch of those. So like, I don't know if I was just not playing it right.
Speed running.
So, like, I didn't mean to be. I kind of was near the end, to be honest with you. I was like, I'm
I'm
kind of done with this game.
How does
Yeah, and like it has some very interesting things in there, and I think I ultimately understood what the story was, but it's just they tell it in such an abstract way. It's just like, maybe I'm right. I could be way off, and I'll take any answer in between because I have no idea what the hell was actually going on. But I mean, that playful nature of like I said, did continue to the very end of it. But I was just like, I was like speed running through the text. Like I wasn't reading all of it near the end. Like I was just like, I'm in episode 4 of 5 or act 4 of 5 in this thing. Like I've invested enough time in this thing. I want to finish it. But yeah, that's a hard recommend. That is a very unique game. I'm glad, it's usually that kind of stuff's up my alley, but that was just
too much.
That's just a little bit too much. And like I would have liked a couple answers, like just explain a couple things, like because they just do so many things that are just happening without any explanation whatsoever, like things that are happening with main characters of the game.
Yeah. That
just happen or are happening, and there's just no logical reason why. So I'm sure they have some weirdo reason why, but I don't know what it is. So Kentucky Route Zero was a trip that I don't even recommend it to. Like guys, like if you like this kind of game, there's nothing like it. So I don't know, man. That was a tough one to end up because it was like I played, I go Red Dead Redemption, Last of Us 2. That, and then and then I find myself instantly like riding horses and shooting bow and arrow again on Ghost of Tsushima. So it's just like I'm just constantly on a horse this year, and like even Kentucky Route Zero has like a horse thing at the very beginning of it too. So it's just like I don't know where horses are going to come in and on Fall Guys, but I'm waiting for somebody like a jelly bean horse to come in.
I'm sure there's a costume.
Oh, probably.
I am only a couple levels away from getting the hot dog costume. I'm very excited about it. So,
and then Beth will love you again.
Finally, Beth. Look what I did for you.
Yeah, I don't care.
She came in today. Was like, "What are you playing?" Like, this game's really fun. Like, okay.
Whatever you say, dear.
But she just like there was one of them where like they have like the false floors, like you're walking through and it's not like there's like one path to get from like one end to the other end, and it gets like everyone's kind of jumping in on this one square, like who's gonna touch the next square, who's gonna touch the next square, and like he's like nudging, and I was playing that game while Beth was in the room, and like the enough of the path like showed herself and Beth like go, so like she was paying attention. She was paying attention. Anyway, that's all I've been playing. Steak, what's coming out next couple weeks?
All right, we got some exciting stuff here, guys.
I can't tell if he's lying to us or not.
Do we? I'm not gonna lie. I don't know what day of the week it is.
I'm fairly positive.
Actually, we this is like it's a smaller list, but it's a lot of big stuff actually. So when we enter August, that's when we start getting some things.
All right, fair enough.
All right, here we go. August 7th to kick things off this time. Fast and Furious Crossroads for PC, PS4, and Xbox One. I will be super excited when that's on Game Pass, and then we'll play it.
Please be excited.
Also on August 7th, Horizon Zero Dawn for the PC.
That's a game that was also on sale on PlayStation, and I was like, I kind of want to play that again.
There's like, I've seen a lot of people playing that game right now. Andy's playing it. Vegas is playing it.
Well,
Andy never finished it.
I saw Vegas.
Andy never finished it. I told Vegas he needs to play it.
I picked it up when Best Buy had that for $10 that
one
time.
Yeah,
I have it. So I've never.
The only reason I didn't get it that time is because it was physical. I'm trying to get that out of my life. I don't need that evil money.
I'm like 95% sure Ghost of Tsushima is going to be my last physical game.
No way. August 14th, Art's excited. UFC 4 for PS4 and Xbox One.
Hey.
Yeah. Maybe I'll grab it someday when it's on sale.
August 18th.
Maybe I'll sign up for EA Access to play it for 10 hours.
Oh, there you go.
Oh, I do have it. Yeah, I have that. I should do that.
It's probably not going to be good because they just announced it like a couple months ago.
I'm going to say that's really quick.
They haven't shown anything, I don't think, so.
All I know is they changed the grappling in the game once again.
Every
2 years. Go back to the grappling you had and the first 2 UFC games.
The circles?
Sure. No. Not the circles. Whatever. Before it was an EA.
Oh,
The UFC Undisputed games.
yeah. Oh my God. It was like the 2 buttons, right? You press like square and triangle at the same time or something
Maybe.
like that.
I don't know.
Was it THQ?
It was T. No, yes, it was
Right?
THQ.
It was
yes.
THQ that did
Yes,
those.
yes, yes.
Yeah, that's what I thought. August 18th, Microsoft Flight Simulator for the PC. It is coming to Xbox consoles. My guess is that's going to be a Series X launch. Because that looks so pretty.
Yeah, super pretty. Man, I remember playing Flight Simulator on a Mac way back in the day.
Joystick and everything. Oh yeah.
Green screen.
Yeah.
So I was reading an article about Flight Simulator. I think it was just someone's review, and they had like a screen in there from like the old days of like when you would crash into something.
Oh my
and
God.
the glass on the screen would just crack,
Yep,
and that was it.
Yep.
I think they said in this one, if you crash, the screen just goes black,
Oh.
No, that's so fun.
and it tells you like what you did wrong or why you crashed. Or
You
whatever.
crashed. What you did wrong was you crashed.
So.
Why you
yeah.
crashed? Your wing was broken, and you ripped off the landing gear.
You answered your phone, and you
You were texting.
Yeah.
So for those of you that have the GTX 2080, enjoy that.
Please, RTX 2080. God, get it right.
I said RTX 2080.
Nice
didn't
and
I?
G.
Oh.
I didn't know you were talking.
I thought
about.
I said RTX. Well, that's what I meant.
God, get it right.
That is what I
noob.
meant.
Is that like the minimum requirement for that game?
No, but I'm sure that. I'm sure to run it in 4K, that's minimum.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Great. Now I gotta hook my PC up to my TV.
And then last but not least, August 20th, Battletoads returns for PC and Xbox One.
I found it very weird that Microsoft has this. That's on Mike. That's only on Xbox, right?
Yep, because it's Rare, and they own Rare, so it'll be on Game Pass.
Okay.
I'm not gonna lie. The thing you talked about there, I was most excited about was Flight Simulator. And I'm not super excited about Flight Simulator.
Yeah, no, that's definitely like when I was like, I am not good, so I don't care about Flight Simulator. But when that's on Series X, like I'm gonna download it day one and I will play it for like an hour just to see how pretty it is.
You'll take off. You'll fly around for a while.
Well, I'll try to fly.
Maybe you'll attempt a landing.
Yeah, that's about it. So your PlayStation Plus games for August: Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2 Remastered.
The campaign.
Yeah, which
The
is
campaign.
only the
Just
campaign, which is
campaign.
unfortunate.
Yep. And Fall Guys.
Yes.
So go
Good.
grab it.
Can we talk about Fall Guys some more? I really like that game.
I have a feeling we'll be talking about it for weeks.
I think I finally.
Is Fall Guys going to become your Rainbow Six?
Yeah, it might.
Well, I would say, like they're clearly doing like the whole like season thing, like
Yeah, right.
So there's 40 levels on there, and I've gotten through 16 today.
Okay.
Jesus Christ, man.
So maybe
Okay.
this.
Jesus, man.
I want that hot dog.
Yeah.
Those levels don't go by super quick.
Well, because I said I'm pretty good at the game. I've only to be modest,
That's a bragger.
I've only won once, but I've probably finished first in races because you get more points as you get like when you finish like top 20,
Right.
top 50 first.
Yeah.
I probably finished first at least like a dozen times in these races, and that gives you some money. I'm in the last section a lot. I only won the once, but.
Sure. So then our Xbox games with gold games for this month. For Xbox One, Portal Knights from August 1st through the 31st.
Of course, it's you.
And then from August 16th through September 15th, Override Mech City Brawl.
You just made that up. That's not a real
fake,
game.
right?
That's not a real game.
Actually, that one looks pretty neat. Looks like it could be fun. And then your Xbox OG games this month, because they're both original Xbox games that are playable on your Xbox One.
I was unaware. You're fine. Just go. No one cares. None of this.
The whole time I was just going with as straight of a face as I could.
From August 1st to the 15th, MX Unleashed. Remember when MX games were a thing? Like everyone played a ton. Like they're still a thing, but like no one plays them anymore, as far as I know.
They still get released every once in a while.
Yeah, that Monster Energy one just came out.
Oh,
not
yeah.
too long ago,
Yeah, right.
Which actually I hear is very good, but no one plays MX or ATV games anymore. And then from August 16th to the 31st, Red Faction 2.
Oh yeah, cool.
So as you can see, the gold games are kind of getting.
Yeah.
But I think that's because now I have some Game Pass games here, and I think they clearly have made their focus on Game Pass.
Yeah, especially, I mean, I don't know if we're gonna talk about this or not, but it seems like gold is just going away. Like, they've taken gold off of like their storefronts and things like that. So I think eventually it's gonna go away.
I read a quote somewhere today saying that no, they're not getting
Just
rid of gold.
recently, they said something like they're not getting rid of gold, but I think
What are they doing?
I don't know. It seems weird. It's everything because terms of their terms and conditions have changed, like the wording and stuff too.
Yeah, I don't.
Uh-huh.
Basically, I think it was like we're not making online free to play.
Right,
was the gist of it. So I think they're just lumping it with Game Pass.
They're just lumping everything into Ultimate.
Yeah, everything's gonna be Ultimate.
It's just gonna be Ultimate. There's not gonna you can't just buy gold separately. You have to get Ultimate.
Okay,
that's my guess.
At some point, I think once all the old non-Ultimate Game Pass subscriptions lapse, they're probably just gonna. I wouldn't be surprised if it's called Game Pass.
Right.
They just rebranded.
They rebranded it. They got rid of
Which is
Xbox
nice,
off
which
of
is
Game
really
Pass.
nice. Yep.
So weird.
Which, whatever.
Right. So we've got some pretty big Game Pass games coming though. So all of these are on August 6th. Darksiders Genesis for Xbox. I'm super excited to give that game another try because I enjoyed it. It just was super ugly on the Switch.
Yeah, that's
so
right.
I am excited to kind of give that another go. The Lurks Below on PC and Xbox. Another one I'm super excited on because I've almost bought it like 3 times, and I'm glad I've hauled off. The Dark Pictures anthology, Man of Medan, is coming for Xbox.
That is, man, I'll tell you, that is a perfect Game Pass game.
Yeah.
Enjoy it. You'll enjoy that you didn't
pumped.
spend any extra money on it.
I'm super pumped.
It's not bad.
Right.
It's not bad.
This is such a glowing review. You will love it just for the fact you didn't spend money on it.
It's
See now, but also though now with this, knowing this, it's like now I kind of don't feel like it's like all right, well, if I just might as well just wait for the next one too now because it's like if this one can be Game Pass, there's probably a good chance the next one will.
Oh, yeah.
Eventually, so it's like I should probably just wait.
yeah, I feel that makes sense.
Trailmakers on PC and Xbox. Undermine for PC and Xbox. Xenocrisis for PC and Xbox, which is it's like your old school 16-bit shooter.
Oh yeah,
That game, yeah.
I know that one.
It's coming out on the Evercade and everything
Yeah.
too. So that's coming out on the 6th as well. And then on August 13th, Final Fantasy VII, the HD, the original.
Finally, these Final Fantasy games they talked about earlier this year.
Earlier this year, that was at that one of their
The European show they had.
the O2
Yes.
or
Yes,
whatever.
yes.
Yep. So PC and Xbox. So for Final Fantasy VII, and then leaving though, there's 2 big games leaving on August 14th. Devil May Cry 5 and Kingdom Come Deliverance.
Yeah, I always want to give it a try. That's just not going to happen now.
Chose to do other things in life.
This is not going to happen
Well,
now.
Kingdom Come Deliverance, I hear, is a time sucker. I hear you really like. It's not. It's a good game if you're willing to put the time into it. It's one of those kind of games.
No.
It's like
No.
It's like an overly simulated, right?
Right.
Like it's like
Yeah.
almost
Yeah, it's
too.
like-
It's
Yeah, it's
too
like
realistic.
sim,
yeah, it's pretty realistic. But if you put the time into it, it's supposed to be very good. But yeah, and then Devil May Cry 5, that's been on there for a while. So if you missed out, that's on you.
Yeah, I took my spin at it. Extra.
It's time for the news. I have 3 things. I don't know if you have anything else.
Things.
First one, PlayStation. I think they put on their blog. I don't think they really did a video or anything. They announced which PS4 peripherals will be compatible with PS5. And you kind of have to connect the dots on some of this stuff. All right. Which existing
Conversation.
PS4 peripherals / accessories will work on PS5? Specialty peripherals, such as officially licensed racing wheels, arcade sticks, and flight sticks, will work with PS5 games and supported PS4 games. The Platinum and Gold wireless headsets, as well as third-party headsets that connect via USB port or audio jack, will work on the PS5. The headset companion amp is not compatible with PS5.
That's a bummer.
The DualShock
I've never
4
used
wireless controller. I'm sorry, do you guys have comments on that? I'm
I'm
ripping
sorry. I'm sorry.
I'm ripping through here, leaving no.
I'm sorry.
room
No.
for discussion.
Honestly, no. The headset companion, I always just check. Like, especially if it's like first party games, because first party games they usually do put some kind of
they'll
setting
put like a
on
profile in there.
Yeah.
That,
So like when I was going through Last of Us Remastered, they had a profile for that. So like, oh, perfect.
Yeah.
And then I just left that on there for Last of Us 2. So
That would have been smart. When I went in,
I
I
was
was
smart
like,
if I thought about it.
when I went in, I said like, well, they don't have one. I noticed they have one for Metal Gear Survive. Like, what the fuck?
yeah.
which is.
Because
Because Konami cares about video games.
But they have like literally maybe a dozen specialty
It's not
profiles.
that many, yeah,
So I was
yeah.
like, I don't know.
I usually pick a game that's similar to the game I'm playing.
It's one of those things. It was like in theory, awesome idea.
Yeah.
In practice, not enough developers used it.
Right. Exactly.
Which I'm assuming that's on the developer to put together a profile.
Agreed.
I would imagine.
I would assume so. Yeah.
I don't think Sony's going through and having someone be their headset guru and create a profile for games, because I don't even think like all their first party games had profiles.
No, not a bunch of them don't.
But yeah, a lot of them don't. There's a good amount that.
Days Gone did.
Most of them on there are first party. Like
Until
there's some
Dawn
third
did.
party on there, but it's weird. Like Final Fantasy 14 has one on there though, which is kind of weird. Like the MMO.
So weird.
The other
Yeah.
thing about that, which I think can kind of be gleaned and implied, so we haven't seen the back, I/O panel on the PS5. I'm pretty sure there's not going to be an optical port based on the way they worded that.
I would assume not. No.
Now, like headsets, like I have a Astro headset. I think Astro's already come out and said that they're working on a firmware patch to make it so that you can connect the dock by USB instead of optical.
Oh, good.
Because it works off USB for PC anyways. So,
Okay.
that makes me happy, because otherwise
Yeah.
I was gonna have to go through a whole like insurance fraud thing.
Oh,
Saying my headset broke. And, I mean, I wouldn't do that.
No, of course not.
No.
Big box retailer. But no, that makes me happy to hear, because I did just get a new headset like June,
Yeah.
which I was gonna hand it over to my kid and let him run wild for a while, and then claim that something happened. It's accidental. My kid got it on accident.
I didn't mean for him to take it.
The kid got it on accident and played fetch in the backyard of the dog. And then the dog, oh god, what he did. All right, the DualShock 4 wireless controller. God damn, sports updates.
What happened?
Was it the Hawks?
No,
damn.
it was the Sox losing 1-0.
Oh, damn it. They were doing so good.
It was 1-0.
That's okay. That's a good game.
DualShock 4 wireless controller and PlayStation officially licensed third-party gamepad controllers will work with supported PS4 games. And I think Sony's even came out and clarified more on that, saying DualShock 4 will work with PS4 games. It will not work with PS5 games.
Correct.
And a lot of people are upset about that one, because Xbox is letting me use my old controller. Yes, okay, if comparing apples to apples, but PS5 is also saying we're pushing a new generation here, whereas Xbox is saying no, we want everything playable on all platforms for 2 years?
Yeah, the first 2 years, yeah.
Yeah.
But also too, like some of the stuff that Sony added, Microsoft has. Like the triggers and everything like that. Like that was on this gen for Xbox. No developers used it, but it's except for Forza.
Right.
But like that's there. Like where that is something new for PS5. So if you're going to use it, obviously you need to have that for like whatever. Then like I mean,
Right.
I get it. Like I don't know why people are upset.
This is no different than when remember that when that Vita TV came out?
Yeah.
There's a bunch of games you couldn't play on that
Right.
because it required a back screen or touch
back
screen or
buttons,
something like that.
yeah.
Exactly.
It's a different peripheral,
Right.
So it's not going to work.
And not only that, like if they said like yes, you can use DualShock 4 for everything, you run into the problem of having to develop everything for the lowest common denominator.
Right.
And if there is some new advanced technology in the was it the DualSense? DualSense. That you couldn't, draw parallel to in the DualShock 4, well, why hold back new games because of the desire to use old technology?
Absolutely.
And you're going to get a controller when you get the system.
Right.
I have 4 PlayStation 4 controllers, so like I get that part of it, but
Sure, but
come on.
no,
This is one of those
know.
things like we talked about a few times ago. Like that was a standard thing in previous generations. Like
Right.
you got a new system, you had to buy new controllers. That's just kind of the way it is.
Could you use your NES controllers on your Super Nintendo?
No. So yes, Xbox is doing something different, but like I said last time, they're doing something completely different. They have a completely different business model and plan.
Like where them and Sony are going is like they're like here, and there's a fork in the road, and they're both going 90 degrees in the opposite direction.
Absolutely.
Last thing, both the PS Move motion controllers and the PlayStation VR aim controller will work with supported PSVR games on PS5.
Cool.
And the camera.
And the
Yes,
camera.
and the camera. So they've confirmed that PSVR will work on PS5, which I think everyone suspected.
And you will be able to get a free adapter if you have the PS4 camera.
Yeah.
Thank fucking God.
So
I don't have to buy another camera.
is it going to be? I'm assuming just like a regular USB.
They haven't said they just
Okay.
I
don't know. It's a proprietary port for the camera now.
Right. Yep. Yeah. I'm assuming it's going to
Which
turn
I
to
hope
USB.
it's USB. Get rid of all the proprietary.
Tell me
ports.
about it.
Yes. My God.
Well, that's what Microsoft did. Like that's because they had the proprietary port for the original Xbox One, and then I had to buy that fucking adapter to use the Kinect on the X then for the USB.
That's what Microsoft did, and then now they got memory cards again.
Yeah.
How am I gonna get that peripheral for that thing? Is it like a mail away? Like you gotta collect cereal boxes? Like how am I gonna get this thing?
My guess would be they'll probably set up a website where you put in the serial number off your PSVR.
Oh, I could see that. Something like
In
that.
12 months from now, we'll get it.
Yeah, and then eventually they'll have supply chain issues, and by the time PS6 comes out, you'll get it.
Now you think if they just see how many VR units they have in the wild, and just make that many.
I mean, you'd think, but.
Mike, that's a little too
It's-
logical. It's too logical.
If you produce that many, then you'll have some people that never see that and never claim it, and then you wasted money on production for a 27-cent.
I was going to say for something that costs probably like what 10 cents at the most.
No, you sell them. You sell them after you give a year window to claim this thing. Then after that, you put them out to sell.
Yeah. So there's all that.
But at least like we finally got that confirmation because like they said it before, but then they haven't said anything in a long time. So at least we got that confirmation. PlayStation VR will work on PS5.
Yeah, there's definitely some good news in here. There's some like so news. Like I'm still waiting for that. Like it was when the Vita, we go back talking about the Vita again. When the Vita came out, like it was like this is gonna be great. This is gonna be great. It's gonna be great. Then like a month before it came out,
Proprietary memory cards.
Boom.
Yep.
Horribly overpriced.
Yep.
Way overpriced memory cards. Proprietary
Absolutely.
charger, like all that stuff. Like so, all that bad news came out like right before the system came out, and it's like totally killed the mojo of that system.
Yep.
So I'm hoping that maybe this is like something like the trickle of little bad news here and there,
Which I mean,
followed by the big news of here's how much it is, here's when it's coming out.
Yeah.
Which we already said that there's a state of play that is tomorrow in real time. It'll be the day before this is posted. And they've already said they're going to do another announcement or event in August.
Yeah.
Which I'm assuming will be the more PS5 stuff.
God damn it! If that is not the price, date, and pre-orders, I am gonna lose my shit.
What are they going to do? Wait until Halloween and go, hey, it's coming out next week.
Jesus! Both of them playing
Shadow drop.
Both of these
Sega Saturn style.
Both of these companies playing chicken is pissing me off.
It's coming out next week. We're not doing pre-orders.
Jesus Christ!
It's every man for himself.
Arm up, gentlemen.
Oh my God!
If you feel that there was rioting going on during the protest, wait till you see when they don't take pre-orders on video game consoles.
No, my new theme.
So many teenage, angsty, pale white kids.
Oh my God!
Trying to break into the Best Buy.
My theme of this podcast recently has been like it's August. Like it's like
August.
It's August.
I know.
So like we're thinking October, November, right?
Yeah.
That's in a couple of
We're
months.
still thinking. I know.
That's a couple of months.
It has to be.
It's August, which is the 8th month. November's the 11th month. So we're probably like 100 days out.
And there's a shit ton of games coming out the week of like November 16th. So like,
Right.
come on.
we can read the tea leaves on that thing, but like, but we still like we can't pre-order. We can't. We don't know.
This is pissing me
There's
off.
so much we don't know. It's insane.
God, let me get all my pre-orders so I can sell them to desperate parents.
Let me just get my pre-order in so I can just stop worrying about
If you
it.
get that many pre-orders, then I'll buy one from you, and then there's less work I got to do.
That's the other thing too.
Well, we'll see what PlayStation ends up doing.
Well,
if
I
they
was
do the
saying,
one per household thing.
Well, I get one from Amazon. I get one from
Well,
Best
yeah.
Buy. I get one. And my thought is, if I have any friends or friends of friends who didn't get one, I'll sell to them for cost.
Yep.
And then I'll hold short-sighted parents over there for Christmas.
That's the American way.
It really is.
What else you got, Art?
Microsoft announced the release date for Project xCloud.
Oh yeah.
September 15th, 2020. It will be for Android devices only. Thoughts?
That's
Did either
that's
you
Apple
guys-
being Apple.
Did either of you guys play any of that?
No.
I haven't had a chance to yet. No. I mean, I've heard good things.
I did. It was laggy.
Okay.
I don't fully know what it is. I'm gonna plead ignorance here. So is it? Are you playing?
Streaming a game?
You're streaming a game off of your own system?
Yes.
Okay. So like anything I have on my access to my system, I can have
Wait,
access.
Well, no. There's certain games. Not every game works.
But is it okay? But it's streaming off of my system, not like on my centralized server somewhere.
Well, when they announced this at whatever last E3 or
Yeah, right.
the last Microsoft conference, they said there was like two different formats of it. They're streaming off your own system and they're streaming from the cloud.
Yeah.
I don't know which one
Right.
this is.
So I think it
Great
depends.
messaging by Microsoft.
Yeah, I think it depends, but the way like Xbox saves work anyways, your saves in the cloud.
Okay.
So I think it's one of those things where it depends if you have access to your system, like if you're, I think what it is if your device can access your system, you play it from your system. But if it can't access your system, that's when it uses the cloud. But your save is in the cloud, so you're using your exact same save.
Okay.
So if you go, so let's say you're on vacation, you can't, you're miles and miles away from your system itself, so you're playing it through the cloud. But then you come home and you load up your system, your save is there.
Okay.
So you can just keep going from where you left off, basically. Yeah.
Yeah, only on Android. It makes.
Well, they got that partnership that they announced today with Samsung.
Yeah, Samsung.
The Galaxy Note 20 has a deal going on with it.
And I mean, it's also like Apple Arcade's a thing. So like, if you're gonna play games on your Apple device, you probably want to play. They want you to.
Well,
play
and
on
that's what a
Apple
lot of people are
Arcade.
speculating is if this is Apple's issue, not necessarily Microsoft's.
It probably is Apple's issue because Apple and Amazon had issues for a long time where because Apple takes like 30% of all
30%,
purchases
yep.
on their platform.
Yep.
So Amazon wouldn't let you purchase. They still don't. I don't think let you purchase Amazon Prime Video stuff straight from the
Through?
device.
Okay,
You have to
yeah.
go either into the Amazon app or into the website and order your TV show or movie there, and then it'll sync with your account, and then you can watch it.
Good for them.
On an iOS device. So it wouldn't surprise me if it's something like that, where they're telling Microsoft, so what's the revenue stream? And it's like nothing. People are buying memberships offline.
That's all it is, yeah.
They're like, okay, well, if you're running this on our platform, we want 30% of that, and they're not buying it through your platform. So
Right. Exactly.
they're not buying it through your storefront, so you're
Right.
entitled to no commission or sales share or whatever on it. I'm trying to see if it has anything.
They really haven't dived into that. Like that was all found out today. And
So
then,
xCloud and Xbox console streaming appear to be two different things.
okay.
So I'm guessing xCloud is streaming from the cloud.
Okay.
And it's tied into your Xbox account, so the games you've purchased, you have access to,
Yeah. Well, you're right. So
and then Game Pass. And
yes,
everything else.
exactly, and through Game Pass, and there's certain games that because not every game is compatible with this xCloud.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
Like I'm not sure you can play Red Dead on xCloud.
Right.
Gotcha.
Right. So whatever game if you own the game or if it's on Game Pass and you have your subscription to Game Pass, you can play it through the xCloud.
Okay.
And then like I said, your save goes to the cloud
I
and
gotcha.
then you share that across.
It's interesting. I don't know. I mean, I don't know.
I
if
don't
I'd
think
ever
I'll use it often, honestly. It's one of those things I'm definitely going to try, probably. I will give it a go. I mean, like for me, I don't really do the remote play that much on Xbox, unless I'm playing something that's like older. Like, was it one time Melissa was watching a TV show and that was when I was playing like Final Fantasy 9, and I'm like, oh, I don't care. I pulled out my Surface and I started streaming straight on my Surface because something like that. I'm like, I don't care. I can just play it right here like this.
I actually played Kentucky Route Zero, probably about a third of it on my iPad.
Oh, okay.
Through remote
Yeah.
play.
Yeah.
I was already in bed. I was like, I couldn't sleep. Like, I don't want to go downstairs.
Right.
So let me try this. I mean, it's just like pressing buttons and reading text.
Right.
So.
Yep, and so it's nice for that like I said, like that kind of stuff.
Yeah,
Like randomly, I would probably use it, but it would not be an everyday thing for me.
Gotcha.
Oh, last news that I have, which I'm sure we'll have something to say about. So they announced that Spider-Man will be exclusively on PlayStation for Marvel's Avengers. The PlayStation blog, the quote in there is, "We can't wait for you to add Spider-Man to your Marvel's Avengers roster in early 2021, and as we promised before, he will be available at no additional cost to owners of the base game exclusively on PlayStation."
Yeah, so all the heroes that are coming out after launch are free, right? That's their whole thing for Avengers.
I
think so.
Yeah,
So they're
Right.
going to have like 4 or 5 are going to be available afterwards for free.
right. Because we know Hawkeye for sure so
Right,
far is
right.
one of them.
They
Yeah,
did a ton of that. By the way, the game actually looked good last time when they showed it in that war room.
it looked better.
Looked better.
It,
Okay.
it looked better. I will agree. No, it did look better.
But-
I'm excited to get my hands on it this weekend.
So you're the resident Xbox person at this table.
Hey, wait, hang on. Let me get through. I have other quotes here.
I got.
So, with that announcement, there was a bunch of uproar about exclusivity and platform exclusivity. Who's this guy? Scott Amos, the head of Crystal Dynamics, gave the following quote. "Because of Sony's unique relationship with Marvel and PlayStation, specifically, that gives us an affordance with Spider-Man that we wouldn't have otherwise. Amos told Matthew Aguilar of Comic Book. So that's something unique because of that relationship. But looking at the future, we have cross-gen, PS4 to PS5 will work, and Xbox to Xbox Series X will work. So cross-gen works. Looking at cross-play as a broader ecosystem is something we want to explore absolutely for the future. At the moment, we have no promises. We have no announcements. But it's saying, hey, this is a connected world. We want everyone to play together where they can. So when we get to it, and assuming that we get to that future, certainly we'll talk about cross-play then. But for the moment, it's two separate issues of saying one does not actually influence the other. We wanted this to be something specific because of the unique relationship and the great partnership between Sony and our collaboration with Marvel. That's awesome. And then looking at future consoles and other announcements, we'll make them when it's time. And then he also in a different article, I got a quote here. Amos clarified, this is the only character that we're doing that way, confirming no other characters are planned to become platform exclusives.
Who else would they do that with?
I don't know. But if it is an issue of money, like State keeps Johnny Manzielling over here, Microsoft has money.
Yeah, but they don't own like any kind of IP of any of these Marvel characters, though. Yeah. Whereas Sony owns Spider-Man outside of comic books.
Right. Yeah, so my big deal here is because I have both systems. So yes. So if I really want to play Spider-Man, I can. I that's not the issue. For me personally, that's not the issue. It's a third-party game. That's where my problem comes in here. I understand, and we're also talking like one of the most popular characters in all of comic books. I understand the deal they made with Insomniac. Insomniac is I'm not upset that the Spider-Man game is on PlayStation only. Sure, it's a bummer for Xbox. Absolutely. Don't get me wrong. It's a bummer for Xbox fans everywhere that they can't play this game especially if that's their only system. But in that game, that's different. It's Spider-Man's game. It's a second party game. Well, Insomniac technically that's first party now, right?
Now it is, yeah.
Now it's first party. So in terms of all of that, I get that, and I'm okay, and I'm 100%. I get, and it sucks. Again, it sucks, but it's fine. It is what it is.
Yeah,
that is what it is. But Marvel versus Capcom, Ultimate Alliance 3, these had no issues with Spider-Man being in their games.
Nope.
Third party.
Spider-Man. There's a bunch of Spider-Men.
I was going to say Spider-Man. Exactly. Spider-Gwen, Venom, everything especially in Ultimate.
Yeah.
So I have a big issue with this being like this. It's a third-party game on Xbox for being exclusive, but not only from the aspect of now that just for me that just doesn't. I think that's terrible. But to me, but then they're saying it's not going to change your experience. So you're telling me you're just throwing Spider-Man in there, but you're not going to include him in the story? Then that means you have a bad story.
When they talked about Hawkeye in the last one, they talked about Hawkeye having his own story thread.
Sure.
So is that just not happening with Spider-Man?
So Spider-Man you're going to be able to play as him throughout these things, but he's not going to have his own beeline story, his own story.
I would think it would be something similar to what they described with Hawkeye because they've said it's not going to be until 2021 that they release Spider-Man.
Right.
So it's not like it's coming out at launch with the game. And it sounds like if there's going to be a story for him, it would be a small standalone chapter.
And it also sounds like they're not doing cross play between different systems.
Right.
So Spider-Man won't appear on an Xbox console either way.
Ever.
So if Spider-Man is only on the Sony piece of it and there's no cross play between the two, then I guess they can just have Spider-Man levels. That's not the first time. There's been a bunch of console exclusive content on third-party games in the past. This is kind of a big one. This is one of the big, especially in recent times. This is one of the bigger ones. But there's some games where I think a couple of the Arkham games had specific PlayStation side levels and things like that. You can only play on PlayStation. So I think maybe that's what it is. It's if I'm playing online with PlayStation people, it doesn't make a difference because everyone's going to be PlayStation.
Well, sure.
If we're not doing crossplay, then I think Spider-Man can have his own level and his own story, his own progression, and that's going to be okay for anybody because if Spider-Man's out, everyone has access to it on PlayStation because it's free. So I think maybe that's what they were getting at. But
Go ahead.
Yes, but I still have a huge problem with that though, because that means that's a huge chunk that you're leaving out from X. That's a huge chunk of game period that you're leaving out from the Xbox
for the same
players,
price,
for the exact same price.
Yeah,
I mean, and especially since you're giving that to PlayStation people for free too. You're not making PlayStation owners of this game play like hey. Guess what? You have this exclusive, but if you want it, it's $20. You know what I mean? No, you're giving it to these guys for free, where the Xbox people get jack shit. Then basically is what you're saying. Like, and you're taking content out, but you want them to pay the same exact price as the PlayStation people.
Like, this would make so much more sense to me if Ultimate Alliance 3 didn't exist. Like, honest to God, because it'd be like if Spider-Man in video games only appears on Sony consoles.
Ultimate Alliance is only Switch, right?
Yes.
I'm almost willing to bet you that's a big part of it.
It's competition. That's 100%.
It's like I'm sure Marvel and there was discussion and somehow Sony was involved because they do have some ties to Spider-Man. I'm still kind of unclear on what their IP ownership is.
No one can find a clear answer.
I would say I've seen some people say Sony only owns motion picture rights.
Right.
Like Mike said, they own non-comic rights. I don't know what the fuck it is.
I don't know.
There was some kind of deal that had to get struck for Spider-Man to be in the Marvel movies, right?
Right.
That was the thing,
right.
And then that kind of fell through, and then they weren't going to make any more, and then they're making another deal.
Right.
So like, they made the original deal.
I mean, it's that part of the thing is clear. Like Sony owns the movie rights to Spider-Man. That much.
Yeah.
Like everyone can agree on that part of it.
Right.
It's just.
Outside.
No one seems to be able to like. Where do video games tie into this? Is it a gray area because it's not a movie, it's not a comic book, it's kind of in between?
It's so weird. Like it's just
because that's the thing. Because it's like Insomniac making of the Spider-Man game, like that's like okay, so Sony could use that license, but they still had to pay to use that Spider-Man. To me, that they still had to pay to use that Spider-Man license,
right? Or there's some kind of profit sharing or something,
yeah. Right? Exactly. So I think they only have the rights technically for the film rights, like
flat out ownership.
Flat out ownership in
right.
terms of film, but in terms of this kind of stuff, I think that's why I kept going like this. I think that's pure money.
I'm sure there's. I can guarantee you there's money involved.
But I understand Microsoft has money too. But I think, I wonder if they have the inside because of like.
Their end of the bargain when they allowed Spider-Man to be in the Marvel Cinematic Universe there has to be something with this because it's the same time frame where like they allowed Spider-Man into the Marvel Cinematic Universe, then Spider-Man gets announced and there's 2 or 3 years afterwards, which game comes out. Then I think and then they signed the new deal. And now Spider-Man is going to be in this one. So it feels like Sony's like, listen, we own these things.
Yeah.
That's fine, Marvel. We can put them in your movies. But on our end of this, like we want to make these video games. We want to sell our consoles because Spider-Man is going to sell consoles.
Right.
Spider-Man outsold God of War.
Right.
Even though God of War is a significantly better game because everyone loves Spider-Man. Right.
Right.
So like, I think that was their, the quid pro quo for them was being like, okay, you'll put him in the movies. We'll take a revenue from the movies where he appears in, but we also want full,
or like right of first refusal for home consoles or
right.
something. And technically, I suppose Nintendo can come and say we're handheld. We're not a home console.
I would love to watch the full ending credits of Ultimate Alliance 3, and there might be something in there that just like. Trademark owned by Spider-Man is Spider-Man.
I never even thought about that. Yeah, because sometimes they'll say property of. And
right.
Then, I never even thought about that.
But so there's two thoughts I have on this. One is like when the big hubbub, this was announced and the internet got pissed off, like the internet is known to do about anything and everything. The one big thread that came out is like. Sony's being anti-consumer, which I think is very, very painting with a broad brush and very much overreaching because Sony's not being anti-consumer. Sony is working to create the best experience for the people who have invested in their platform, which makes sense to me. I'm not saying they need to exclude other platforms, but they're doing it to make their console the best value they can. Mm-hmm. If anyone's being anti-consumer here, it's Square Enix, who, if they were paid for exclusivity, they're the ones who are really excluding people here.
Yep.
they're the one. I mean, maybe Spider-Man was never even an option for Xbox, and Sony had to go to them and give them money. That's fine. They're ultimately the ones that said, yeah, we'll take your money and we'll create the content just for your platform. The other aspect of this that I want to point out is, now granted, it's been a long time, so this doesn't apply to everyone who's, big Xbox fans, but your platform started this exclusivity shit. Back with Xbox 360 and PS3, Xbox had the timed exclusives on everything. They paid for exclusive right on every big game that was out there. And then when PS4 and Xbox One came out, Sony said, like, okay, we're getting our dicks kicked in because everyone's buying the Xbox because they think that's the Call of Duty platform, or they're buying Xbox because they think it's whatever other, games. Call of Duty was the big one, but there was other IPs that they, paid for those exclusive rights for. So then Sony started, ponying up the money for it, and it seems like Xbox, I mean, maybe they, during the time they were doing that, they didn't see a big enough return on their investment, they felt, and they just have stopped. So, I mean, it's kind of, things have done a 180 here in the last 15 years.
And also, like, I don't get mad at people doing things with their property. Like, I don't care how you drive your car. Like,
I mean, if you're driving like an asshole and I'm driving, I care how you're driving your car.
Well,
but I get what you're saying. Like, if you're on an empty road, drive however the fuck you want. It doesn't affect me.
And, like, ultimately, like,
you want to buy premium gas? That's not okay. Cool.
If Sony owns these rights to Spider-Man, they can do whatever the hell they want to with it. And as anti-consumer or not,
I'll say, and if it comes down to, this is Sony throwing their weight around with having the exclusive rights to it, maybe Marvel's who people should be pissed off at for selling the rights decades ago.
Well, sure. Well, yeah, that's a whole.
That's a whole different world 20 years ago.
I was gonna say, yeah, Marvel.
Yeah, Marvel then was
Marvel's
not
super pissed now about everything. Trust me.
You think Disney wanted to go through the negotiations to try to get Spider-Man in their movies?
No, absolutely not.
They had to buy all of Fox to make that work.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Yeah, no, for sure. Well, and then the whole mutant deal too. They couldn't say mutants and all that stuff, fun stuff. But no, but I think. See, I think I would not be upset if I knew this was a timed exclusive, but it's not. They've already said it's not. They said this will never happen.
I'm surprised.
Not show up on Xbox, so that's what makes me more upset. It's like because like again, if it was like because I understand the whole time exclusive thing, which I think is just like again, it never affected me because the games I played, it never because like I said, Call of Duty, yeah, that was a perfect example. 360.
That was huge on 360, yeah.
And now it's huge on PlayStation. They get everything. I mean, look, they got that Spec Ops.
Yep.
For like a whole year before Xbox was able to get it. Right. And that's bullshit because by that time, the next Call of Duty game's out. And guess what? No one's playing the old game anymore.
Exactly.
Unless the new one really sucks. Which that time I think was World War II, so it didn't suck.
That's a good one.
Yeah. So I agree. Like I don't like the whole time exclusive, but if it's a time exclusive, it's like okay, bummer, but fine. 6 months down the line, whatever. It's even if a year down, especially for a game like this, because this is supposed to be a service game, so this game should go on for years. Even if I have to wait a year to play a Spider-Man on Xbox, I'll do it. No big deal. I'll deal with it. But the fact that it's not coming, period. Being a third-party game, like that's where my issue comes.
I am shocked. There's not like another one that only Xbox getting. Like, do like?
That's the thing. How is Xbox not make cutting a deal for like Wolverine?
Ooh.
Like
because it could.
That's what I'm saying. That's just as huge.
Well, that's
Disney and Fox. That doesn't.
Right.
Sony. So,
okay.
But
can't get all that shit together.
But that would be. But like that's and to me I think that's something maybe. I wonder if Microsoft was taken aback, but I don't know if they knew about this. Like, they might not have known even about this until now. Because now, if I was them, I'd be on the horn with Square Enix and be like, all right, you say there's nothing in the works. We know there's nothing in the works now because you and I haven't talked yet. So, how much is Wolverine?
Yeah, right. It's and I know there's been so much of like if you go on the storefront for PlayStation, there's Marvel Avengers have been on like one of the first two front pages for a long time.
Yeah, absolutely.
So that makes a lot of sense too. But this is kind of gross. I know I've talked
especially coming out a month before launch too. Like it's like God damn it! Like are you kidding me?
Oh, good.
Finally was starting to get me a little bit more excited for this game.
And then let's get these pre-orders in and do all this stuff, and all of a sudden, oh by the way, you're gonna be missing one of the most popular characters and not gonna be on the Xbox. ultimately, I feel like it is a little bit gross. Like I mean, I know I'm kind of like playing devil's advocate as we're talking here, being like, well, it's their property. I still kind of feel that way too, but like, really, what it comes down to is just like, why is it the same price?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
If it was like, all right, all these characters are free except for Spider-Man. Spider-Man costs you $15. I think that's kind of like everyone would be kind of cool with it, but
it'd still be people would still be upset. It'd still be a huge bummer, but at least you're forcing PlayStation owners to pay more to get more content. And I mean, I don't think they mentioned in the article you had, Art, but the PlayStation's also getting like more costumes and all this other kind of stuff, like more missions and stuff like that. So they're getting, it's besides Spider-Man, they're getting quite a bit of more content.
It's significant.
And it's like, and they're not, and when it comes to that stuff, they're not being very straightforward if that's timed or not. Like, I don't like this business practice. I don't like it. Like,
it's gross.
I mean, obviously that's because also this pisses me off because I reserved it for Xbox before my GCU expired, which makes me really mad. But basically, let me put it this way: the beta has to blow me away this weekend, or I'm canceling my pre-order. Period. Because
that's not a bad thought.
I mean, the game itself already, I was not too excited for, but it was one of those things where I was like, well, it's still Marvel. I gotta pre-order it. We'll see what happens. And then, so I was never like, I have not had like super hyped about it. The last trailer, I was like, okay, I feel a little bit better about this. So I'm excited to get my hands on it finally this weekend, but it needs to blow me away.
And I can tell you the exact moment I was just like, this might be okay, to being like, this is not for me. It was, I mean, it's already like there's way too much Destiny in there, and I just don't like those games.
Yes.
I play too much other stuff to be involved in one thing for that long.
Agreed.
So not my type of game to begin with.
Yep.
And then they showed the upgrade screen. I think it was for Iron Man, right?
Okay.
And it was just like,
right.
Here's 40 things. There's like 7 different currencies. And I was like, what's going on here? How do I obtain these currencies? Do I got to pay for some of this stuff? Do I get them all in game? Like,
it'll probably be like how the last couple of Assassin's Creed games have been, where you got your money that you can spend on whatever, but then you have your real time coins, like any mobile game too. Here's your gems that you actually spend money on, and you can unlock this. And I guarantee you, that's how a lot of those costumes are going to be.
Yeah.
Especially, and the best costumes are going to be behind the paywall, like the actual paywall. So that means even if I did get Spider-Man, I would not be able to play as my original Iron Spider-Man without spending another $20 probably.
so stupid.
And that would piss me off.
So I'm just like,
so that would piss me off on top of that.
yeah, right. Yeah, I don't know, man. Like I said, when we saw like the first time last E3, I'm like, this game's in trouble. Yeah. And then it kind of went away, and they got delayed a bunch, and they had a couple of these war tables or whatever the frick they're called.
Yeah.
And I was just like, the first one was like, okay, nothing really there. And next one, okay, it looks a little bit better. But it's just like, if this was not a Marvel game, would anybody care about it? So like, why am I gonna?
Absolutely not.
Why am I gonna spend some time?
Just like the Square Enix other game, Outriders.
Yeah,
it's basically the same thing without the Marvel skin, and no one cares.
And no one even knows what that is. So, all right, I think that's all the news we got, right?
That's all I got.
That's all we got. I think that's all we got. Period. So, next time.
Wait, hang on. I had one random thought that
go ahead.
like pops in my head like 2 days after we record every time.
Oh, good.
On the next gen consoles.
Yeah.
One thing that's really disappointing so far to see, neither of them are continuing the liquid cooling that the One X did.
Is that confirmed?
Oh, yeah.
It's not confirmed, but with the Series X has said that they're just using fans.
Yep.
That's part of the reason they went with the design they did. And from what everyone said about the PlayStation, the reason the box is so massive is because of the fans inside of it.
Weird.
Which, I mean, liquid cooling does involve fans, but it's unfortunate.
Is that more expensive?
Yes.
It is.
It is, but it's quieter. It cools your internals more, which would allow you to, push more power to them to make them run harder.
I was gonna say, I don't hear my X ever.
Yeah, exactly.
Like even playing like Gears in 4K 60 frames, like Gears 5 campaign, like it doesn't make a peep. And then you got Last of Us 2, and then while I'm playing, while I'm in the zone, I hear.
Yeah, my PS4 Pro sounds like a goddamn jumbo jet ready to take off.
God. So you weren't here last time. So did you have any like impressions or anything on the Xbox first party event?
Didn't.
Nothing at all.
I read a recap of it. And that's the thing. Like when it comes to next gen, like they're trying, like they've done the move to rebrand Game Pass and take the Xbox off of it, which tells me they're going to try to create more parity with PC, and all their first party stuff's going to go to PC.
Right.
I have PCs. Like they really, and like most of their first party stuff, just I have like a distant interest in it, but it's not like, oh man, I got to play that.
Right.
Like they have given me no reason to feel the need to buy their box next generation.
All right, so you're right on par with everybody else. So like like I said last time too, I just feel like this is the next Game Pass machine.
Which I mean, and that's fine if they want Game Pass to be their ecosystem, and that's the direction they're going in. That's fine if that's the choice you're making. And consoles are just a box you're creating so that you can get your Game Pass to more people. Mm-hmm. I mean, that's fine if that's your business model and that's what you're going for. Like Phil Spencer said that console wars are over. Like they're focusing on Game Pass and xCloud, and PlayStation's still focusing on console stuff. And to be perfectly honest, it's almost kind of nice to have them doing two different things instead of being the same thing, and the only difference being exclusives.
Yeah, I totally agree. All right, I just want to give you a chance.
Yeah, like I said, I listened 2/3 of the way through that last episode, and yeah,
it was a long one. All right,
I didn't quite make it to the Xbox stuff.
That's all right. To piggyback on that, though, they did announce that the Halo multiplayer is going to be free for all.
Yes,
which is crazy, and it's going to run at 120 frames per second.
Bonkers.
I can't wait to see that.
It's just freaking.
I'm just curious. I just can't. I won't play it, but I'm curious to see. I'll play the hell out of the Infinite campaign on Game Pass, but I'm curious.
And honestly, if I was going to, so whatever, let's say the new console's $500. If all the same stuff's going to be available on my PC, I'd rather put $500 towards an updated graphics card so I can run those high specs. Sure. Plus do everything else I do with the PC. Plus play those PC only games that are on Steam. I mean, it's great that the Series X is having the higher hardware specs, but like outside of that, they're really not giving me a reason to feel the need to buy their box. And it sounds like they're okay with that too. So
yeah, that sounds like their game plan.
Also, I'm kind of waiting for them to announce whatever the lower tier Xbox is. Maybe I'll get that because toggling the settings and tinkering on the PC stuff is kind of a pain in the ass sometimes.
No thank you.
Because, of course, every game I play on PC, I want to get, the best resolution with no stuttering. How do I tinker these things? I think I played Far Cry New Dawn on there. I spent, 3 hours doing video tests and screwing with resolutions and shaders and shadows.
And that's why I play on consoles.
God, you can play the entire game of Inside in that 3 hours. You put the Far Cry
on PC.
Oh, my God. All right.
But, you don't feel the need to do that with every game.
I hear you.
It was the first game I played after getting a new graphics card. So.
All right, fair enough.
Well,
okay.
Sure.
Okay, fair enough.
Sure.
That's an interesting thought. Of getting a graphics card as opposed to getting a new Xbox. I never literally thought of that.
Do you have a computer that has the rest of the updated components? So
I don't know. I would say probably not.
Call a guy.
So mine's pretty close to that.
Yeah.
I don't know, getting that RT.
Ray tracing, RT.
Oh.
Yes.
I learned something today. Is this
2080 would be...
We're changing to a PC gaming podcast?
No, we're not.
No.
No, we're not.
Because I remember when I did have my huge... So last time I built my computer, the first... the Tomb Raider remake came out, and that was the PC version was the top of the line, with the hair physics and all that. Again, same like you said, I tinkered with settings for a good couple hours on that, and it was amazing. Once I got through it all, but it was oh my God, going through those because I wanted to look as best as I could, but without I needed no hiccups while I was playing. And
that's what I was doing with Far Cry. I'm like, I wanted it 4K. I want everything on Ultra.
Right. Okay. Now I'm gonna slowly start turn. Let me turn this one down a little bit.
I have trouble finding 3 hours to play games.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Well, in my defense, this was back when I was single and all that good stuff.
I all time
single,
the world back then.
early 20s.
Yep. That was my Friday night.
I can go to the bar and spend $40, or I can sit here and tinker with settings.
6-pack of beer next to me. I did that.
Oh man. All right, so next time I think we're gonna do my idea.
Okay,
on board.
Sure.
So I have compiled a 72 game bracket.
Jesus Christ.
It keeps growing.
It was 64, wasn't it?
It was.
No.
I got playing games.
No, yeah, it was 72 last time because there was at least one of your playing games. And I was like, this should not be a playing game.
So I'm creating a bracket of the basically games that came out in this generation with a bunch of caveats. So it's PlayStation 4 games, Xbox One games, did not include Switch because that generation is still going on, and maybe that's the thing we do later on when Switch is near the end. Then we put everything head to head later on or something. I don't know. There's no Switch games in here, based off of, and they're seeded based off of their Open Critic and
only the best entry per franchise.
Best entry per franchise. Thank you. Best entry per franchise, and also moved around a little bit based on our own personal preferences, because seeding is based on who you think is going to win the most, right?
Sure.
So like putting Horizon Zero Dawn at like an 8 seed for us, I think is ridiculous.
Yeah,
because that's what it would have been if
go ahead, leave it there.
So I'm moving a few things here and there to kind of like be in line with, I know, where like our previous like top 5 lists of the year and things like that. Like they don't all appear on there obviously because, you know, some of them weren't the best in the series, some of them weren't, some of them were Nintendo, whatever it is. But we're gonna have a bracket and we're gonna determine what our favorite game of this generation was. We were gonna do it this week, and then we started playing. I played Ghost of Tsushima, and I was like, no, we gotta include that in here because I really like that game. So we're gonna do it next week.
It's 2-2.
Thank you. Let's go watch that game. What do you say?
Okay.
All right. Next time, brackets.
Brackets.
Oh,
March Madness stuff.
Fist fight to the death.
It's gonna get. I'm sorry. I got.
Who's gonna be the 12-5 upset?
It's. Man, I'm telling you, some of those things are gonna get ugly.
Remind me. I'm gonna wear my Illinois basketball jersey for March Madness feel since we didn't get it this year.
I think you're gonna get it next year.
Oh, we better.
We're not. No,
Illinois is gonna be number 1.
I don't know about that, but they're gonna be all right. See you next time, stickheads.
I don't know about that.